Franchise Nutrition and Fitness Podcast. My name is Ryan. I'm a registered dietitian.
I'm Matt. I'm a certified personal trainer and health coach.
If you haven't already, go back and check out all the other episodes of Franchise Nutrition and Fitness Podcast and head on over to franchisenutritionandfitness.com. You can sign up for your free meet and greet there, or send us any questions or responses to anything that we've talked about on here. We're happy to always chat with you and help you reach all of your nutrition and fitness goals. On previous episodes, we've talked about a lot of different stuff, but one of the things that we haven't talked about is some other things that can help you out when you lift and that can help you feel better afterwards.
Yeah, it's going to the gym and oftentimes looking at, different social media posts. You'll see a lot of arguments about it of like, what should you wear? What type of attire are you working out with and what's going to help? And then also along those lines, what are you bracing up with? What are you wrapping with? What are you belting up with? And why do people use those things? So we'll uncover all of that today.
Yeah, there's a lot of different kind of things. We're talking about lifting. So this is kind of more specific to the lifting, but we'll also mention a little bit about some cardiovascular stuff. But when it comes to the lifting, you'll hear a lot of different stuff about things that you should use. And from different people will tell you things that you should not use. So it is really specific, I think, to what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve. And then also what kind of ailments that you might have.
Absolutely. And that's, for me personally, it comes in working a lot of lower body stuff. I always do knee sleeves, regardless of what I'm doing, regardless of the rep range. If I'm doing any sort of lower body workouts, I like that. Gets my knees nice and warm, a little bit of blood pumping there. That helps out a lot. And then I'm a huge fan of the knee wraps if I'm doing heavier weight. And for heavier weight for myself, I consider like 5 reps and less. So especially if I'm like maxing out. I've had 2 knee surgeries. I'm not planning on having any more. So I like every bit of extra stability I can if I'm maxing out on squats.
Matt, are you still wrestling?
I am still very much wrestling.
So technically, Matt is planning to have yet another knee surgery.
Today is actually the 10-year anniversary of my first knee surgery. When I had my my ACL reconstruction 10 years ago today, as we're recording this on May 31st. So there you go. Happy knee anniversary.
How long were you continuing to work out and doing stuff, but from the time that you injured it to the time that you had your surgery?
6 weeks.
So you might need a new knee right now. You don't even know.
Probably. That's very fair. And I would definitely go see a different doctor than the one I initially saw. Since I was telling him, I was like, yeah, I ruptured my ACL. And he was like, no, you're good. You're good. 6 weeks later, he's like, yeah, you ruptured your ACL. And so he did try to flatter my ego and said, hey, it was a testament to my training that all the other ligaments were so strong that my knee seemed stable enough that the ACL was still in place. Like, cool. We're still finding another surgeon.
Yeah, I do not want you to cut me up because you might accidentally cut the wrong thing.
This one looks stable.
Snap. Well, that one popped back really fast. Similar to Matt, I frequently wear elbow sleeves because of historical elbow injuries. And it's really my right arm. I ended up with cubital tunnel. And as it was explained to me by the surgeon that fixed my arm, what probably occurred based off of everything I explained to him was that I had some wrestling related injury that pinched the nerve. Because he's like, this isn't like a lifting related thing. Like usually you'll see cubital tunnel or golfer's elbow in that set of people, but I don't play golf. So he's like, this is an overuse injury. So it probably happened when you were wrestling and you just like were using it so frequently that it made it. And what he believes happened, or at least what he told me at the time happened, was that it looked like based off the x-rays and the MRI that I had a bone spur in there somewhere, which is created by overuse, right? So typically bone spurs are created by overuse of like your tendon pulling on the bone. And it had cracked off and was pinching the nerve. So that's
Been
what.
there, done that before. And similarly with my elbow, I often get tennis elbow or lateral epicondylitis. That's one of, oh, I have to slow down to say it correctly. I just slur over it. But yeah, so kind of similar to that, when I'm wrestling a lot, especially when I'm lifting heavy frequently, I get issues with that. So I wear the little elbow bands, and that has a tendency to help because what it does is kind of redistribute the pressure off of those tendons and to other ones. So therefore, I can allow it to heal as I'm continuing to work out.
Right. So are you talking about the elbow band that's like it goes just in front of your elbow on your.
Yeah, yeah. If you're visually watching us, yeah, there's the kind of little band looks almost like a watch that you're wearing. Yeah, just
Okay.
kind of on the forearm.
Yeah, mine is a regular elbow sleeve. And I will tell you this, like the crazy thing, if you are wearing sleeves, that is different than wraps. Like somebody try to say that they're the same thing. Sleeves and wraps are not.
And when you say somebody, I know exactly who you're talking about. We have argued with a a wrestling colleague that has an education but does not apply it necessarily all the time.
Yeah. It's um if you are okay, so my thing with wraps, and I don't have anything against them. My personal thing with it is uh it's really difficult to get it done well if you're doing it by yourself. Like
Absolutely.
especially the first time that you've ever used wraps. I've used knee wraps like twice in my life. And I had somebody that was a power lifter helping me get them on because I was like, it's like, yeah, sure, I'll try them. He's like, have you ever used wraps? I was like, no, I've never used wraps. I've used sleeves before, which are just like they sound, like your regular arm sleeve. You just slide them on over your knee or over your elbow. And uh it like I did one and then he I did my left knee and then he did my right knee and then we redid my left knee.
And you're like, hey, this is the way it's supposed to feel. Yeah.
Like, so you see what was different there? I was like, yeah, that's completely different than I anticipated. So
Yeah, when they're properly done, you feel almost kind of like spring loaded. I can't really think of a better
yeah,
way to describe it. Like I love it. Like go down with a squat and like I feel like it's giving me some sort of elasticity to come back up. But
right.
yeah, oftentimes it takes a while. It takes some getting used to. So I always have to kind of factor in some more time to wrap myself up before a leg workout.
Yeah, and that's tough. Like that, it's tough to walk around with it on.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You feel like you're kind of waddling around the gym.
Yeah, you're a penguin. You're like a guy from Batman. Penguin. And you're a maniacal crook. You might have a monocle. Yeah. So,
Totally in a monocle. I often think I'm Danny DeVito on the jump. So that's yeah.
I haven't seen the new Batman yet. Did you see the new Batman?
Well, of course, I saw the new Batman opening weekend because anybody knows me knows I love Batman. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, there's not really any sort of workout scenes in that, like there often are in Batman. He doesn't have the miraculous like push-ups like every superhero movie that makes you get better.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hurt, like all this. Or speaking of the aids of the braces, I always love what with the Dark Knight, where he has the magical knee brace that makes everything better after being Batman for years. So.
Right. Yeah. That's the whole thing. I am older and Matt is younger than I am, but he is not an 18-year-old. So a lot of the things we're talking about in this episode, we probably should have said this at the beginning, but either way, might be more applicable to somebody that is 25 and up, or
Or just like an experienced lifter too, like and thinking about your background as far as what you've put your body through. Like obviously, as I'm talking about multiple knee surgeries, back issues, ankle surgery, all that fun stuff. My body is not that of a 35-year-old. But so somebody who hasn't participated in the activities and the sports that we have maybe won't need some of these aids. And a lot of times, like you said, you'll see like these 18-year-old kids that really haven't done a whole lot before that walk in and feel like they need the braces, they need the belts, they need the wraps, and maybe that's not the case. And when I train clients, I try to advise against using any sort of aids for as long as we can, obviously within safety parameters, because you'll get people that will use a weight belt consistently for everything, even when they don't need a weight belt, and you're not learning how to properly kind of spot and keep the spine in place yourself, whereas the belt's doing the work for you, and you'll start seeing muscle imbalances with a lot of the core muscles.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the big thing. I just mentioned a moment ago that I use elbow sleeves. I don't use them all the time. I'm not like a chronic user of them. I also have wrist straps, so the or lifting straps. Um, so not wrist wraps. That's a different thing. But the strap where uh, the loop of it goes around your hand, and then a piece of fabric traces your hand kind of towards towards your index finger when you're putting it on properly. So it should not go out towards your pinky. If you have the long piece of fabric, that should go towards your index finger. And that's so as you wrap it around the bar, when you're lifting, it's less likely to fall out of your hand as your grip fails.
Yeah, just aids with your grip strength, because a lot of times, yeah, our strength for lifts, like say shrugs, our trapezius muscles are a lot stronger than our grip strength, and so you're kind of doing yourself a disservice because you can't do nearly as much with that grip. But yeah, using those straps can be very beneficial.
Yeah. And so when I use wrist straps, I wait until I'm further into the exercise counts or um, sets in the lift. So, like for example, if I was doing shrugs, kind of what Matt mentioned his example, um, and I started out, I wouldn't use any straps until if I'm doing 5 sets, I might not use any straps till I get to set 4 or 5, because in all those first earlier steps, you're also training your grip. You're training your forearm muscles to be able to do it. The advantage of the lift strap is it helps with your grip, and also you're not using as much of your forearm to stabilize your wrist and your hand on the bar. So that's kind of what we're talking about. We're talking about people that are younger, or that are more novice lifters that you haven't been lifting a long time. Using these aids that we're talking about, if you put them on before your body has built that prerequisite muscle mass, central nervous system connection, all of those things, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you are more likely to actually get hurt using the devices than you are to help you prevent you from getting hurt.
Absolutely, it's one of those. Yeah, it's an aid. It's not something that should be there from the get go. It's to help you get a little bit more out of it and to safely do it.
Yeah. Matt, have you ever worn a weightlifting, like a powerlifting suit?
Powerlifting suit? I have not.
I tried to put one on once. And uh, if you've ever done wraps on your knee, it's like that on your body. it's like your entire
Okay, that's an intriguing sensation. That's
like I was like, why is it these straps moving over my shoulders? What's the trick? And they're like, the trick is you got to be stronger, Ryan. I was like, what? That's not a good trick. That's like unbelievable.
It's like that's why I'm in the gym. I'm trying to get stronger.
This how I'm gonna get stronger. It's just trying to put this suit on. It's a total body workout trying to get this thing on. But have you ever seen pictures of power lifters and stuff like that? They don't have like the straps on. They just have like the pulled up kind of over their waist.
Right. It looks like your old wrestling trunks. Yeah, that's
I just have a short torso. My old wrestling trunks did not look like they were hiked up to my chest.
If you're a pro wrestling fan and pro wrestling fan of WWF from the mid '90s, look up 1995 Shawn Michaels, and you will see what Ryan's trunks looked like when he wrestled.
That's not true. That's not
just fabric and nipples. That's
that's definitely not true. I can tell you that. And also, other funny thing, we were talking about my trunks and stuff. I progressively made them smaller. So, like the first pattern that I got when I was making my trunks and stuff, it was definitely closer to that mid '90s style. And I had like a test pattern. I put them on, and I looked through the mirror. I was like, "What is this? Like, this is ridiculous." And then I accidentally cut off like too much. It looked almost like I was wearing a thong. So I was like, nope, this isn't going to work either. So I had to find the place in the middle.
And then funny enough, the thong trunks actually became your workout attire. You start wearing them in the gym, and it's perfect. You get full range of motion. Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all.
Yeah.
So
No respect.
what do you prefer to wear when you work out in the gym? Like so obviously we're talking about doing the wraps and the braces and fun stuff like that. And but what do you like to just kind of throw on when you go to the gym or go to your home gym since you work out at home?
Yeah. Well, I still wear clothes. So, yeah, we're talking about wearing the
No
clothes.
naked yoga for you in the garage gym?
No, no, I would be concerned. Kind of because I have to like it's hot here in Wilmington, North Carolina currently, and I open the garage door to help circulate the air. So I need to uh, be as private
Be
about it.
mindful of your neighbors.
And like the small children that are like walking by on the sidewalk and like waving at us. But so this is kind of a funny thing. So we're talking about this is kind of more like an aesthetic approach, not necessarily something that's going to help me lift at all. Um, I wear shirt shirts with sleeves, like when I'm doing squats and kind of thing. So that way the bar doesn't like I have some fabric resistance here because it's hot, it's humid, and even if it's the winter time and the garage door is down, like the temperature doesn't get really below um like it holds pretty well in the garage around like 40 degrees in the wintertime up to like 60 or so. So it's not getting like freezing cold. So I don't need like a hoodie or anything in there. Um, but the air doesn't, it's still humid and it's not insulated and the air's not really circulating. So if I don't wear a shirt when I'm doing squats, like the bar could slip off my back. So I got to wear a shirt for the resistance. But all other times I got a tank top on because man, I'm flexing. I got to be able to see what's happening.
Yeah,
So
I always, yeah, I love working out with a tank. I used to be very similar to you. Like it would always be, hey, something with sleeves for leg day, something sleeveless every other day. Now it's typically sleeveless. I used to always do kind of the moisture wicking stuff, wanted to be nice and performance based. I don't care now. I throw on a cotton tank top, some compression shorts, some athletic shorts, and some cross trainers, and I'm good to go. Like I'm not one of those people that's in there with this Project Rock
uh,
$200 trainers and $100 tanks and all that stuff. Like,
yeah. I will say, so we're talking about shoes though. I get kind of particular about shoes and lifting. So I want to back up. I do not own a weight belt, so I don't wear one of those ever. I have never I've used a weight belt before. I don't want to say I've never used a weight belt before, but I've never been a consistent user of a weight belt. In that, even when um, I got up in higher numbers for lifts and things, I always felt like if I can't properly maintain the form to lift this without a belt, then I need to work more on the form. Uh,
for me, it's almost just a comfort thing. If I'm doing like a maximal lift on a squat, like I've had lower back issues, so it just makes me feel slightly more comfortable. Same reason I brace my ankles when I wrestle. I don't brace my ankles when I work out, but it's just that like extra comfort there. It's more mental than it is anything. It's not really doing as much as I would like it to. It's a safety measure in my head.
Yeah. And like, but so it's mental for Matt, but I will tell you that I can attest to the effects of a weight belt definitely does help you with your intra abdominal pressure if it's necessary. Like if you
And if
have,
you use it correctly, because a lot of
yeah,
people don't, because a lot of people are throwing it on and then sucking in, not pressing out, and then to properly use that belt to press out to
yeah,
create that pressure to keep the spine in place is vital to making sure the belt's working correctly.
yeah. And so there's not a lot of evidence to support this, but um, anecdotally, I have noticed that if I pull in like my abdomen, if I pull it in while I'm doing the bigger lifts and things like that, my um waist tends to be smaller. And the times when I was trying to get bigger and I was like more not compacting myself and tightening my abdomen around a tight squeezed core, and I was trying to like just push out and like get as much pressure as I could pushing out of my abdomen, I feel like my waist was bigger then. I don't know that like that's just anecdotal.
I was gonna say, and yeah, and I mean, there's stuff out there, the bro sciencey stuff. Yeah, go back to our previous podcast where we talk about that. Yeah, that people claim the same thing, but like you said, there's not a whole lot of research out there that to support that.
Yeah, and I mean, and the other time too, like if you're trying to get to, I don't have any of these goals, but if you're trying to get like to 1,000-pound deadlift, you're gonna inevitably need a belt somewhere in there.
Yeah, I'm not lifting 1,000 pounds of anything, just raw, no straps, no belt, no nothing. That sounds
Yeah.
awful.
That's the funny thing. Like a friend of mine is doing a raw powerlifting contest in December, and it's raw, quote unquote raw, but raw allows you the use of a belt and knee sleeves. Is the raw line. I was like, oh, that's interesting. He's like, yeah, he's like, that's kind of the way that everything's moving to because people are having such like long-term injuries.
People are starting to realize, yeah, that maybe that's not the best thing for your body.
You're getting up there in big weights. But he did say, I asked him about it and about like the weightlifting suits, and he says that he thinks it's similar to those suits that swimmers were wearing or whatever that helped them like shave off time. He's like, it's
Right.
basically cheating, like you're like a body loaded spring. Like
Right. Kind of similar to what I'm talking about. Having the knee wraps. Absolutely. So while we're on the subject of attire, if you're watching the visual version of this,
I'm like,
no, you're good. No, because this just crossed my mind when you kind of lift it up. So the shirt you're wearing, you've got a University of Georgia Rec Sport shirt on. How old is that shirt?
this shirt is it says personal trainer on the back if you really want to know.
Well, that shirt's pretty effing old. We try to keep it PG-13ish, but I was about to.
Yeah, this shirt is like 10 years old, I think. I also, this was after you left, like you were already out of rec sports and you weren't a personal trainer anymore. So this
was because I graduated and they wouldn't let me stay.
Yeah, this is the sweet like dry fit version. I also have the other long sleeve version that matches this. That also so, woo! I still have that. Still fits. The funny thing, I always had to wear like large shirts for like the length of my body and the length of my arms and stuff. But sometime around, I figured out that I could get away with a medium shirt because the length isn't really that different. So I'd wear a medium shirt often, just so that way I can look bigger, especially when I was like personal training. I think this is a medium. I don't know. I'd have to like take the shirt off to be able to, because it's one of those like press on tags, whatever, not like an actual paper tag. But the back to what we're wearing in the gym when I work out. So t-shirt leg day, tank top all other times. But recently I've been doing a lot more total body things. And so I just wear a tank top the whole time because I'll just do the squats at the beginning and try to get through them before I'm drenched so much that the bar rolls off my back. And the thing is that I do like low bar squats. I don't do high bar squats anymore because of my back history. So I do low bars for the lower shear force on my spine. But I haven't got up to, in most recent time, I haven't gotten over 305. I think it's the most I've done in like the last couple of months. I haven't done anything heavier than that. So I'm not at the point in my mind where I need a belt. Personally, this is me anecdotally. If I got to more than 3 plates, like if I got to 4 plates, I'd probably start looking at a belt.
That probably sounds like a good strategy, like even if it's not research based.
yeah. Like I mean, like it's just kind of like I've done 3 plate. I've gotten up to, in competition, I did more, but I was definitely way more trained then. So I'm trying to do the math here. So 8 times 45 plus 45. Yeah, that's 405. Yeah. So I've definitely done sets of like in the three. Is in my workout book, so I know it was in there. I was like 370s, 360s without a belt on. I didn't like cause myself any problems. So I've that weird little line in there. You put up that extra plate. It's kind of like a security blanket, like they make, like we talked about on the supplements and stuff like that. I take these things regularly, not necessarily because I need them, but more of as an insurance policy. You're getting on 4 plates and more on your back. It's okay to put a belt on. brace yourself.
See, for me, it's equally important that to have a shirt that matches the day. So like UGA game days, like I've always got a UGA tank top on when I'm working out. Falcons Sundays, as much as it hurts me, I've got a Falcons shirt on. And then if it's a big Braves game, World Series last year was a Braves tank top every day. So
yeah. Shoes. You say trainers.
I love trainers. Yeah, I love the versatility of trainers because I don't have to worry about changing it out for anything else. Give me a good. They're not sponsoring us or anything, but I love just a pair of Under Armour trainers.
Yeah, that's a good general trainer. I am a little bit more persnickety. I wear, if I have deadlifts programmed into the workout, I wear my old wrestling shoes. So the last time I wrestled, I had these super cheap. I got them off, I don't know what website I found them from, but they were like $8 or something. They're like teal, pink, and yellow. Like regular amateur wrestling shoes, but they're super flat, like Converse, like super flat. And so that's really good for deadlifting, keeping your foot as flat on the ground as you can. But then all other things, I have a pair of Olympic lifting shoes that I wear there. And shout out to Justin Brewster. Thank you for helping me get the good discount on those. So the only reason why I was like, oh, again, these are cheaper. But I think it kind of like rounds it out as far as stuff that I normally wear for lifting. Now I wear running shorts when I run that have like a liner in it. I prefer those also when I'm biking. I don't really ever wear compression stuff, but if I'm on a bike, I don't want anything that's going to be long and loose because of the risk of it getting trapped in a spoke or something.
Yeah, I'm not much of a runner or a cyclist, so I really don't have to worry about that. Like for me, this hopping on the elliptical or the stationary bike at the gym after a lifting session, yeah, what I've already got on is sufficient.
Yeah, and if you are running, I cannot advocate highly enough that you do not want to get a cheap regular trainer. Like if you're running, especially on like hard surfaces and stuff, get a good quality shoe. It's going to save your body. Go somewhere, get fitted, do all those things.
Yeah, if you ever just want to feel the difference in half a second, try on a trainer and try on a pair of running shoes and notice the difference.
Yeah. And I know there's a big movement currently for like move to barefoot stuff. I would not recommend anybody go out and try to start running barefoot on the sidewalk. Just do yourself a favor. Like that's something to like move into slowly, and you have access to a field that's soft, green, and dirt underneath it. But either way, so what do you guys out there listening? I know we're talking about all the time, but what do you guys wear? What's your things? What are your go-tos for different stuff? Do you prefer a weight belt? Do you use wrist straps? Do you use wrist wraps? Do you use knee straps? Do you use sleeves? Do you use elbow sleeves? Do you use elbow wraps? We'll talk about it further, but there's like some other kind of stuff that you can kind of do that are I wouldn't say fun, but like some other interesting ways to use the various straps, like when you're lifting. Like you can use wrist wraps for more things than just putting it on your wrist. So you can make little advantages of equipment use with wrist wraps and stuff like that. But either way, you got anything to add on that, Matt?
Nah, I mean, you pretty much summed it up. I think, yeah, it's a good overall review and outline of exercise attire and a little bit of aids you can use to get a little extra advantage and a little bit extra safety.
All right. Remember, franchisenutritionandfitness.com. Go check us out there. Sign up for your free meet and greet. Send us a message, or check us out on Facebook or other social medias. You can send us messages on there and book your free meet and greets through there. Maximize every bite, maximize every rep.